Hi, welcome back to the newest installment from Deadly Affirmations, the video novel. Today we're going to read the first part of chapter 12. It's called Think About Meditating. So sit back, relax, get comfortable, and we'll begin. Here we go. 12. Think about meditating. At last it was Friday. And once work was over for the day and the week, River City was hosting its annual River City Fest with music and dancing and food and everything. Patience was pumped. She had just a few things to do before work. Feed the cat, get cleaned up, get dressed. TS did not officially have a casual Friday, but no one ever said anything when the employees dressed down at the end of the working week. Patience put on a lime green polo shirt with a little pink crocodile on the left breast, a pair of Peter Miller khaki-colored twill pants. She loved them, even though she hadn't loved spending the money to get them altered to fit her cute little butt. A skinny medium brown fossil roller buckle leather belt and her cherished 1982 white with black stripes and no laces, duh, Adidas Superstar sneakers. She had had to save up for a year to afford them, and it took her another 6 months to find just the right pair. To top it all off, she added a lime green to match the shirt on her chest, elastic and a choker. And then a quick look in the book at the cards. When your mind is racing out of control, you must slow down, or you won't be able to connect with the world around you. You need that connection to your humanity to continue your journey to the real you. Think about using meditation to help you harness your mind and connect with your soul. Sit comfortably, sit up straight, close your eyes, breathe slowly through your nose. Be patient, let yourself observe what is around you, and let your thoughts come to you. It is only important that you know your own truth. Okay, Patience thought. A little homework for the weekend. And then she chose her card for the day. 73. I breathe in quiet and tranquility. I breathe out all the turmoil and imbalance within me. With that soothing guidance for her day, Patience decided that she should treat herself to lunch out today. So she left her knitting at home, just slinging a black messenger bag that she had personalized with a bold pink Patience running horizontally next to an equally pink vertical stripe over her shoulder. She scratched the cat, went out, locked the door, and went into the garage to get the car to drive to work. As she was getting into the car, Patience looked over at the shelves that lined the back of the garage and noticed another collection of paraphernalia that needed to be organized and cleaned. There was a bunch of stuff there that could go: a bag of potash, an old outdoor mercury thermometer, some fertilizer, pesticides, and old paint cans. She was sure that she would find some other stuff that could stay. Well, tomorrow, after the fest, was the weekend. Detective Williams had a new investigation today. It was Friday and business should have been calming down, except for some drunkenness and disruption that the fest attracted. But that shouldn't begin until tonight. But it seemed that yesterday, Edmund Kemper had something sharp driven through his eye and then into his brain. Somebody driving past Edmund's house had noticed something in the driveway, and when the investigators found that the something in the driveway was Edmund's body, the case had begun. And just to make it more complicated, Detective Williams was beginning to think that River City was a black hole of convolutions. When they looked in his house, they found his mother. Well, they were pretty sure it was his mother, pending the coroner's report, in pieces, in plastic bags, in the basement freezer, and the skins of maybe 100 cats, of all colors and sizes, nailed to the walls of the living room. The investigators had used almost all of a 4-gigabyte memory card in their evidence gathering. Out back there were kennels and kennels and kennels full of dogs, with the strong ones eating the weak ones for food and moisture. Someone did the community service killing this guy, Williams said to himself, and he looked around to make sure that he hadn't said this aloud. But now it was another unsolved case to add to the 5 already on his whiteboard. Maybe the autopsy would explain what exactly had killed Mr. Kemper. Detective Williams opened the thin manila folder that contained the coroner's report. Dr. Baxter, or W.E., as he insisted that Detective Williams call him, suggested that an awl, a gimlet, a long nail, a Paria steel elevator, the deadly dentist murders, a manicurist's extractor, or maybe even a pair of straight dog grooming scissors could have been the murder weapon. Fucking great. Now Williams had his new photo to tape on the whiteboard and a new file to add to the growing pile at his desk. Lee had been up until 5 a.m. working on the damn paper. She woke at 1 in the afternoon and realized that if she got this thing finished today, she'd be able to get back to college in time for that party her BFF, Brianna, had told her about. She got up, took a quick, cool shower. Brr, that'll wake you up, Lee, she said to herself, made herself a bowl of cereal in the kitchen, and then got right to work. Wheezy had a full day planned. She wanted to vacuum the couch and the living room, wash the bedding, and clean Bruno's cage. Those were the standard Friday morning chores that she set for herself because Friday nights were church nights. And she wanted to get in a little practice on her piano before she went to the meeting at the First Reformed Millerite Faithful Watchman Church House tonight. Her pastor, Elder Pickens, his family had been elders in the church since the Great Disappointment, had texted her 3 hymns that he wanted played tonight. I'm but a stranger here, safely through another week, and there is sunlight on the hilltop. She had played these before, but not in a very long time. Before she got to work relearning these hymns, Wheezy needed to warm up. She loved the smoking and chewing song and often used it to warm up. She had learned smoking and chewing when she was just a girl. Her pastor taught it to all of the children of the church as a bulwark against the influence of the world. She hated that evil tobacco weed and did not spend her time with anyone who smoked it, ever. Not for the past 70-some-odd years. Her friend Patience did use the marijuana and shared it with Wheezy every once in a while. At first, Wheezy felt a little hypocritical smoking the dope, as Patience called it, but it helped Wheezy's sciatica and it made her happy. So what? Wheezy wondered once more. What was wrong with that? It certainly wasn't tobacco. So Wheezy played and sang out at the top of her old little voice. Chewing in the parlor, smoking in the street, choking with cigar smoke everyone you meet, spitting on the pavement, spitting on the floor. Is there such enslavement? Is there such a bore? Puddles in the corners, swelling into one, forming lakes and rivers, drying in the sun. Maidens never marry men who smoke or chew. If they use tobacco, they never do. Many carry spices, cinnamon and cloves. Make use of your eyesight, make use of your nose. For when you are married, spice they throw away, and your loving husband smokes and chews all day. Chewing, smoking, spitting, choking, sending clouds a-whirling in everybody's face. Chewing in the parlor, spitting on the floor. Is there such enslavement? Is there such a bore? It took Wheezy a couple of hours to get sunlight on the hilltop right. Thankfully, once she played the other 2 hymns a couple of times, she remembered them. And after a third run-through, she knew the other 2 by heart again. There would be a short meeting and a sing-along for the children of the church after the meeting tonight, and the elder especially wanted Wheezy to teach the children true temperance, boys and girls. This one needed no practice. Wheezy had learned it from Miss Eliza Howe when Wheezy was about 10. True temperance, boys and girls, are we. We're trying as hard can be to learn health habits in our youth, for 'tis a part of God's great truth. We join our hearts and join our hands and stand a true and loyal band. From all bad habits we will flee, for temperance, boys and girls, are we. Temperance boys and girls are we. Temperance boys, temperance girls, temperance boys and girls are we. Always true we mean to be. And when it's time to go to school, to study hard, obey the rule, we'll have clear minds to get our tasks and do the things the teacher asks. The health work is the entering wedge, and round our path a sheltering hedge. 'Twill help us choose the right from wrong and make us good as well as strong. Between the music and the wonderful message in the hymns and songs, Wheezy was smiling after the first notes of her practice and ready to get herself to the meeting as soon as her practice was complete. Lee was finished with the final draft of her paper by dinner time. She told her mom her plans for Saturday, and Mom took her out for Italian food to celebrate the paper's completion and to say goodbye until vacation. Lee, full of pasta primavera, half the order came home in a box for Mom's lunch tomorrow, and some lemon sorbet, was in bed by 10, ready to get back to school the first thing on Saturday. She hated to miss the fest, but she would have hated to miss Bree's party much more. Another day, another headache, Detective Williams muttered to himself as he left work at 6. He drove home by way of the liquor store, where he picked up a case of Coors Light, and the pizza barn, where he only had to wait 15 minutes for a large hand-tossed Italian sausage, onion, and mushroom pizza. At a stoplight about a block from the pizza place, he opened the box and tore himself off a piece of the pizza. The aroma had been calling to him ever since he had put it into the car, and happily munched on it until he pulled into his driveway 5 minutes later. As he walked into the kitchen, he kicked off his shoes and set down the beer and pizza on the counter. He put 3 bottles into the fridge, put 2 slices of pizza onto a paper plate, took a warm bottle of beer for himself, and patted in his socks into the living room. He put his dinner down on the coffee table in front of the sofa and sat down. He took a bite of pizza as he chewed and found the remote, turned on the TV, and scrolled through the info screen. Friday night. The All Movie All the Time channel was showing a Bruce Willis marathon until midnight. They were already halfway through Hudson Hawk, but after that they were showing The Fifth Element. Marcel would have watched Mila Jovovich eat lunch, and she was especially well cast as Liumili Lakatribalamina et Bati Sabat, a supreme being, or as the scientist in the movie said, perfect. Pulp Fiction and The Kid. Marcel planned on being drunk and passed out sometime during Pulp Fiction, so he didn't really have to concern himself with having to watch that Disney direct The Kid. He didn't make it to Pulp Fiction. Heck, he didn't even get to see Gary Oldman buying the Flowston Paradise Farm in Fifth Element. Wheezy had a wonderful time at the Friday night meeting. There were 15 or 20 congregants there, and all proved to be in fine or at least enthusiastic voice. After the meeting, she taught True Temperance boys and girls to the half-dozen children who came, and then stayed for decaf coffee and a cookie. She was driven home by that nice Mr. Moses Law, even though she didn't much care for his shiny shaved head. She did think that his luxurious beard was very handsome. Wheezy went to bed as soon as she got home. The River City Fest had begun tonight, but tomorrow morning was when the little children would be showing off their crafts projects, and the adults would be sampling the locally brewed beer and homemade pretzels.